Going to
Hello and welcome to the third and final round of the HSBC UK Women's National Circuit Series. For the last round we headed over to West Yorkshire for the Otley Grand Prix, where a very familiar face came to the fore to take that victory, and it was indeed last year's National Road Race champion.
There's gaps appearing left, right and centre. Jess Roberts there is sitting in fourth place, and we can see Lizzie Bennett trying to move up there from Velopom, and we can see on the right hand side there Jo Tindley is out in the wind. She's not going to be getting up there in this bunch sprint.
Bex Dorrell's coming round. She's got Jess Roberts by the side of her.
Oh, here we
into the final bend.
Oh, sprint royale, and we can see here Jess Roberts fully lit. She's going down the middle of the road here. Bex Dorrell just on a wheel. Can she get round her? It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's going to be 2 years in a row for Team Breeze. Jess Roberts takes it. What a ride.
Yet another brilliant result there for Jess Roberts. She's absolutely on fire lately with brilliant results, and indeed she will be lining up here tonight on quite a technical and a little bit wet course. But first, before we go any further here, let's take a closer look at exactly what is on offer here in Barnsley.
As a common stop-off point between Leeds and London, the South Yorkshire town of Barnsley was formerly known for its strong industrial presence, producing textiles, making glass, and most famously, mining coal. When the mining ceased, the town's culture became fueled by something else: brass bands. But this weekend, the town will be swapping horns for handlebars as Barnsley plays host to the 5th round of the National Circuit Series. A relatively new addition to the series, Barnsley was also home for the National Circuit Championships in 2015. However, the town is no stranger to pro cycling. In 2014, the Tour de France passed through the former industrial haven, which also saw the Tour of Yorkshire cross its streets earlier just this year. Who will take the win this week, and who will crack under the pressure of this crucial series race?
Well, as you can see, the riders now on the circuit lining up behind me. I'm going to have a quick chat with Lizzie Bennett here. So, of course, you're coming into the final round tonight in the lead, and Jo in a brilliant position too. How are you feeling as a team?
Yes, really good. Everyone's really positive. We've got 3 of us in the top 10 for the individual, and we're leading the team classification. So, yeah.
What do you make of this circuit? Very technical.
Yeah, it's going to be a technical one, and it's wet. So, yeah. It's going to be a good one.
And I was mentioning just before about this circuit being a little bit wet, kind of drying out a bit. You kind of want it one or the other.
Yeah, definitely. You know, with it drying out can, sometimes make it even worse. So, with dry and wet patches. But yeah, we just got to race and see how it goes.
Good luck tonight, of course. Thank you so much for joining us. And for now, let's join our commentators, James McCallum, and he's with Kira McVitie.
Thanks, Becca. How are we doing, everyone? Nice to have you here. I'm here tonight with Kira McVitie, former professional rider for WNT. How you been doing, Kira?
I'm really good, actually. Yeah, this is my first time commentating on a Circuit Series race, but I'm excited to get started.
So be kind, please, when you go on the live stream, okay? One thing to remember tonight, again, folks, we are here to answer any questions you may have. Please do use the Twitter handle or the hashtag of National Circuit Series, and we will do our best to expertly answer those questions for you. So, but we just heard there in the interviews at the top of the show that the course tonight, A, it's technical, B, it's got a brutal little climb on it, but also it's wet.
Yeah, I mean, whenever the weather is bad, it adds a new level of difficulty for all the riders, and some riders will really thrive with the weather, and a lot of riders might, their heads might fall off with the weather today. I think 2 riders that I think will be kind of loving this weather are Sophie Langford and Jo Tindley. They're both very good technical bike riders.
We'll have a quick look at this map to give you guys a bit of a reference for what we're talking about. It's city centre based, so there's lots and lots of traffic on these circuits. We see a big long home straight, but don't be deceived by that. That's all uphill, and the next section here slightly downhill, and we've got a cobbled section just there before that right-hander, and then we have this big long sweeping right, and this is the real critical crunch point in that course. 200 metres to go, there's a really tight little chicane where you literally have to be the first person into that. In fact, you need to be the first person into the corner before that if you get any chance of taking this tonight.
And it does look slippy as well, that corner.
Yeah, we just had Lizzie Bennett there, who's currently leading the series. Obviously, Lizzie and her teammate Joe Tindley, they're sitting 1-2, as well as obviously team Velo Performance. They're leading the team series as well right now. So they either want it to be soaking wet or bone dry. And right now, the course has been getting quite a lot of rain, but it's now slowly starting to dry up, as we can now see those overall standings right there with Lizzie Bennett and obviously Joe Tindley very, very close to each other. But there's a decent gap there now to Sophie Langford, who we haven't spoke about as yet. But I reckon this is a course tonight for Sophie.
I definitely think so. I mean, she's going to be one of the girls who's thinking, get to the front, and, you know, she is fearless. So it'll be hammered down first couple of laps and see who's the bravest.
And as we look at that, actually, the fight for third is over between 3 riders and only 2 points. So you've got 2 riders there, along with Jen Pill from Bianchi Dama, who's also on the same points there for that third place. And just behind them, you've obviously got riders just trying to get on that podium for the overall standing. So as we see here, previous winners, obviously, first time we were here actually was 2015, when it was Nikki Juniper won the national championships. Beck Sturrell, who has been showing some incredible form in the criteriums and on the road so far this year, along with her now teammate Anna Henderson, national champion. This is going to be a very, very interesting, but a very tense race, because in only about 48 hours from now, we've actually got the national championships as well. So it's a chance for riders to test their legs. Yep, they've got a chance to test their legs, but they've also got a chance to potentially put a little bit more of icing on the top of that cake, and maybe the cherry on top before nationals. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I wonder what Velo Performance's game plan will be, because obviously they've got first and second spots tonight, and will they be trying to get another one of their riders up there who is less involved maybe in the overall? I don't know. But I think it'd be really interesting, because they clearly have a very strong team, how Brother Tifosi will play it. And, like you say, the likes of Jess Roberts, Anna Henderson, what are they going to do?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is actually one of the more technical real crunch points there. It's a really fast slight downhill into this really tight chicane, and as you can see just below us at the bottom of the picture, the change of surface here, we're onto city centre cobblestones, which can be either very grippy or very slidey. And it's not really the issue with the surface, it's more the transition from surface to surface. As you can see, city centres are synonymous with having lots of traffic, so rubber off the tyres, oil and diesel off the vehicles, but also lots of lines as well. And white lines, when it's like this, are treacherous.
Deadly. Yes. I think really it's going to be super interesting to see the first couple of laps, because honestly, especially with the weather like this, it's going to be the top 10 riders if you're not at the front.
Absolutely.
Because there's going to be riders who are a bit more nervous than maybe they normally are.
You can actually see a couple of riders who have not got glasses on. You can just see the nerves, and maybe more so the concentration, which tonight you're going to have to be absolutely on the ball when it comes to all facets of this. You're going to have to be on the ball from fitness, but more importantly from skill and positioning as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who hits out first. As we see there, Jen Pill just moving up the outside there for Bianchi Dama. She knows that you have to be at the front for this, and you know what, if you're not in the top 15 in this race tonight, it's going to be a tough one to actually move up, because it's such a tough course. A combination of being A, technical, B, very demanding, because this is a really difficult home straight which they're now taking up.
As you can see the Velo Performance girls taking it up right from the beginning.
Neutral lap is done, and we are go here, ladies and gentlemen, at the HSBC National Circuit Race Series. This race will be conducted over 50 minutes plus 5 laps tonight. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, because obviously Beck Sturrell and everyone else, they want to be at the front here, but there's only so much space on this course, as we now move from a relatively wide 2-lane road to basically a single lane, as we pop now down the back of the circuit. Just getting a good eye here for seeing what we've actually got in store for us tonight, and this is a really, really quick bit of road.
And you can see Rebecca Durrell is already putting the pressure down, and look at everyone's just in one line. There is no waiting about on this first lap.
No, absolutely. And the thing is as well, a lot of this has got to do with nerves. Everyone wants to make sure in the right position, and this point here is going to be a real crunch. As you can see, just the difference in the the difference in the surface, the lines on the course, but also right down the middle of the road, there's lots of grates and all the usual manhole covers that you've got to navigate your way around. And unfortunately, a lot of them are on the racing line, aren't they?
Yeah. And I think Rebecca Durrell, what she's doing at the minute, she just wants to be picking her line. She wants to be seeing where she wants to be hitting the apex. And I think she's kind of, she's just testing the waters, and you can see already it's just splitting to pieces. I can't believe it's splitting so early. Jo Tindley looks behind her and she can see the gaps opening up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that just shows you how important it is to be on the front foot in these events and getting to the front and, using that energy to save it in the long run, because you don't want to be, those riders who are coming around the corner. You can see Sophie Langford just making it around the corner there, just at the front of that split at the back of the bunch. But this could be a moment where potentially Brother UK, Tifosi, powered by On Form, as well as Velo Performance, could be teaming up. Yeah,
putting the hammer down now.
Yep.
As they come through the finish line.
A great rider for this kind of course as well. Gabby, a former teammate of yours as well?
Yes, definitely. I mean, Gabby is another fearless rider, and she's from Yorkshire as well, so I'm sure she's wanting to impress.
A local lassie.
Yeah.
Yep, a local lass.
Yeah, so I'm sure she's got friends, relatives, and yeah, it's an important race for everyone.
And another thing that's really important about tonight is that they all stay upright, because the Nationals is only 48 hours away, and you don't want to make a mistake tonight and end up getting injured. We've already seen today in the Tour de France, Wout van Aert had a really bad crash, and
yes,
unfortunately these things happen in bike races. But yeah, we're now getting into roughly just over we're talking now close to 5 minutes of racing, and you can already see quite a lot of splits in this group.
Yeah, and I think this front group, I don't think they'll be thinking about the Nationals, if I'm honest. I think these girls are thinking, I need to get in front, I need to get in the front split. And clearly the people who are second guessing, second thinking themselves have found themselves on the back foot straight away. And
you'll find that on courses like this, riders will find sections where they're not really comfortable with, so they'll be thinking about that. And sometimes the process of thinking, I'm coming up to that bit, that corner's coming, that actually plays more of a part in what you do in these circuits rather than just actually getting on with it.
Yeah, definitely.
But Gabby here, she's really intent here. Obviously, team orders are, let's drill this straight from the gun.
I mean, you can see Brother Tifosi, they have been on the gas. I mean, initially I thought Velo Performance were driving it, but the Brother Tifosi girls have just taken it up. And you can see Gabby doing an absolutely amazing ride for her team leader, I imagine, Rebecca.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the most important part here, is that you have got teammates around about you, and it gives you the chance to take the weight off your shoulders, because obviously.
And what a rider to have ride for you too.
She is, as you can see just now, what she's doing to this group right now. She's stringing it out up here, and this is exactly the perfect territory for Gabby Shaw, isn't it?
And you can see the gap is that Jayati Hine just getting on the back of that front group there, and was that Bianchi Dharma rider? Yep. You can see riders literally shaking their heads.
This is you can just see there as you look back down the screen. That's the start and finish gantry behind us, and you can just see, you get an idea of the gradient. If you look at the side of the road where the shops are and stuff like that, you get an idea of this is it's close to 10%, especially through that really tight chicane, which comes at only, it's less than 100 metres.
And what's crazy is we're a matter of laps in and the field is decimated. You can't quite see it on the screen, but that really is a pinch of a climb up to the finish line, and that combined with the wet conditions, you've got to be on your A game today.
And as I've said, we're now clicking over 5 minutes of racing, so this race will be 50 minutes plus 5 laps to the finish for this race. Most importantly, there's a few people asking questions on the live stream about the men's race. That will follow us directly after this on another stream, so keep tuned for the ladies race, but the men's race will follow this straight away, more or less, roughly about in the next 45 to 50 minutes.
There? That's
looks like there's been an issue.
Performance girls.
That's one of the issue there.
Is that Bennett?
I think it could be Lizzie Bennett.
It looks
having
like Lizzie Bennett.
Slight issue there.
One of her teammates is dismounting to give her a bike.
Yeah, that's an absolute nightmare for Lizzie Bennett, because now obviously Jo Tindley's now.
And now you see Rebecca Durrell.
She sees the moment. She sees a chance.
The moment.
And the issue now we have, of course, with these circuit races is there's no laps out for any mechanicals or any crashes.
And you can really see the girls hitting it now. And Jo Tindley's just going to sit there. She's not going to do a turn.
Let's just see what happened there. It looks like, what happened? Did she clip her? Oh! Yep, looks like she was lucky there. She stayed up. Yeah, it looks like she unclipped her pedal and basically had a bit of a tank slapper basically straight on the top tube, and she's lucky not to do herself a bit of mischief there, because that's not a good situation.
And this is a perfect situation now for Brother Tifosi. They've got two of their strongest riders away, and Jo Tindley, she's kind of on the back foot here. She's just got to sit and wait and see what happens.
And you can just see in the background there from Bianchi Dama, Jen Powell's just trying to get across because she obviously sees the danger. I mean, these are 3 strong riders. You don't want to get them, you don't let them to get out of your sight at all, do you?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, I just wonder what the tactic of the front group now will be, because there's no Vela Performance girls there now. They're kind of chasing back onto that group because of Bennett's mechanical, although it looked like she almost crashed, really.
Yeah, it looks like it was potentially maybe just the angle at which she tried to put the gas on in the pedals, and it's just obviously with these pedals being quick release, depending on the angle at which you actually stamp down on them, can depend on how quickly they pop your foot out. But pretty rare thing. It could be maybe potentially a worn cleat or something like that, or maybe there's been a damage to the pedal and she's clipped it on something in the first few laps, because we know how frantic these neutral laps can be, and especially the first couple of laps. But it's interesting to see Jo's actually riding here.
Yeah, I mean, from her perspective, she is sitting second overall, and I bet they would rather keep it in the team than not at all. So Jo isn't going to be riding flat out. She's just going to be rolling through, but she doesn't want to disrupt the tempo and have Brother Tifosi kind of 1-2ing her, trying to attack her.
Yeah, because currently on the standings, Jo's currently got 44 points, 10 points behind Lizzie Banks, her teammate. Sophie Langford's just behind them at 32. Jenny Powell, 32 points. So Jenny Powell, as we've seen just a moment ago.
Lizzie Bennett.
Oh, sorry, Lizzie Bennett, sorry. Excuse me. Getting excited. But if you look down the actual standings, Bex Durrell's got 28 points, so she can actually slide onto the podium tonight from this ride. So there she is. There's Jenny Powell just powering away back.
I think Jenny is coming across here.
Yep, absolutely. She's such a strong rider, and we've seen this so many times in the National Series.
She's just head down. She's not even on the drops. She's just putting the watts down.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen this in Bristol in the first round, which is very similar conditions, probably equally as technical a course. Loads of rain, very, very twisty course in the city centre, obviously. But Jen was one of the strongest riders in there. Maybe not technically up to the same standard, but tell you what, when she sees a bit of straight line,
I mean, it's
impressive.
quite interesting, because up the climb where it is less technical, she's definitely gaining on them, but through this technical part, I'm not sure if she's really gaining anything here. So it'd be interesting to see how much she can gain up the climb the next lap.
I mean, you can just see there just how capable the threesome at the front are. They're very, very impressive. Jo obviously has been around the block for such a long time, and you've got riders like Gabby Shaw in there as well as Bex Durrell. They are some of the most experienced ladies in the UK peloton, so it'll be great to see if Jen Powell can get across here, because you know what, she needs to be there, and she needs to get there as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And there needs to be some representation from Bianchi Dama in that front group, and there are other teams who are on the back foot here as well. I mean, Sophie Langford's team Jaden, where are they? They were kind of sitting towards the back of that front group. I mean, only sitting really 8th, 9th, 10th wheel, but a crash has happened, or not a crash, an incident has happened, and these 3 have now gained an advantage. And
now you can see there's no sign of the bunch in that straight as we now come back up to this home straight to take in another lap of this course now in Barnsley. Roughly that's 10 minutes now of racing done, and we can see there's riders all over this course already. This is going to be an absolutely brutal race tonight, Kira, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, it's just so interesting how quickly it has split up, but it just shows how much these girls want to put the hammer down. And equally, if I was thinking, I'm in the break, you're probably a lot safer in the break, especially with nationals coming up. You'd be thinking, I'm picking my lines, I'm picking the best spot, and I know, if you're in this front group, you're with two of the best.
Yeah, you're in pretty handy company, aren't you?
Riders.
We can just see there, Jen Powell still just trying to close that last 5 to 10 seconds. She is a rider who can put in a tremendous effort like that all night, but it's just going to be however long this takes for her to get there. She needs to get there as soon as possible. We said already.
I almost think that since Bex Durrell has put the power down on the front, that Jenny Powell may not get across, simply because it's 1 versus 3 at this point.
Especially for that technical section, Bex knows that's a place where she can put the pressure on the group, but more importantly, she can get some recovery in there, because if you're good technically, you can take the corners at your own speed. You're at the front of the group, you can kind of dictate exactly when you want to recover and how you're going to recover. So it's good to see all 3 ladies in this front group are actually showing an awful lot of willing to ride with each other. Yeah,
definitely. And I wonder how long that will last for, because obviously there's going to be some rivalry, and Bex Durrell is going to want to move up those standings as much as possible, and I think Jo will be looking for the win on the overall series win.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we could get any information about how Lizzie Bennett is doing, because obviously this could be her national series leadership going to her teammate, obviously Jo Tindley. A great result for the team, but it'd be so harsh on Lizzie to lose that in this way, in this manner, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely, especially when something like that, it's not your fault, you've just, had a slight problem. It's tough to take. I mean, if someone beats you fair and square, it's completely different.
Absolutely. And don't forget, folks, tonight, please do get in touch with us using the hashtag National Circuit Series. Any questions you've got, any queries about the race tonight and what's going on in the race, do get in touch with us and we will do our best to answer them, Kira?
Yeah, we'll give it a go.
We'll give it a nudge.
But you have to do that hashtag, otherwise we won't find it.
Yep, hashtag National Circuit Series. We've also got some, the live streams obviously got live chat as well, so feel free and we'll have a quick little look down that stream to see if we've got any questions on there and do our best to answer them as well. So thank you once again for joining in here. We are now we're now at 40 minutes to go, plus 5 laps remaining. And as we can see here at the front, 3 riders, Gabby Shaw there from Brother UK to Fossey. I had to just take a minute there to admire her bike handling skills. That was, she absolutely tore through there, didn't she?
I mean, she sees these lap riders and she's thinking, I must get around these people, because honestly, if you're towards the back and you're overtaking riders, there's just less and less space for you to move. And
it actually looks now like Jen Pill's actually slowly getting pulled back. So it looks like Sophie Langford's team's got themselves together. She's got a bit of support in there. And importantly now, they're trying to get a little bit of rhythm in that chase group to try and bring this back. The last time check we had was roughly about 8 seconds, which on a course like this is pretty much out of sight on these straights, because it's a twisty little course. But they need to keep on pushing. They need to keep supporting Sophie. And as we see, that's 8 seconds up there on the left-hand side.
Jo Tindley just flicks her elbow. Come on, Brother Tifosi. Yep. Give us a hand.
Absolutely, because Jo, in a way, she has to ride, because she is now technically the
leader on the road.
Yeah, leader on the road as the virtual series leader and winner. But she's with 2 teammates, so it's a cagey one. We have to really. If I was Jo, I'd maybe be sitting in a little bit more.
I just wonder whether she will be thinking, do I want to win the series, or am I just going to try and win the race?
Why not do both?
Try and do both.
Try and win the race, then you win the series anyway. But it's always a tough one as well, because you're in that situation where if you do start sitting on with 2 riders from the same team, they'll start trying to tag on you, won't they?
Definitely. But I have to say though, I've just noticed her number 13 is actually not turned upside down. So
we can see that the series leader are just going through the screen. So that's roughly about 20 to 25 seconds now that Lizzie Bennett's. She's got a teammate around about her. Looks like they've managed to suss out the issue she's had with her bike. More importantly, she's back in the race, so it's not all is lost whatsoever. The question is now, do the pits now tell Jo to stop riding to create a bit of confusion at the front?
I don't think you can, because if Jo stops riding, say, then you're effectively have a free first and second, and we as a team, you're not going to want to do that. So it's up to the girls in the second group now to ride, and if they can get organised, it's only 34 seconds and there's still 35 minutes to go. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's 35 minutes remaining plus the last 5 laps. We will see the lap board in just over half an hour's time here, folks. As we can see, these 3 riders on the front there. We've got Jo Tindley in the blue from Velo Performance, followed there swiftly by the 2 ladies at the back. Gabby Shaw, number 9, and her teammate Bex Durrell, number 8. Bex has been a Formula winner here, actually, so she knows this course like the back of her hand.
She has. I mean, there's not many races on the calendar she hasn't won.
Yep. Very, very handy bike rider. Obviously won the Lincoln Grand Prix as well this year, and that's not a race that you can. It's not a dummies race. You win that if you're a class bike rider, and Bex, as well as the other 2 ladies in this group, have shown an enormous amount of class all year.
I mean, I'm not sure who I would put my money on tonight. I think it's too early to call it, but by the look of Gabby going around those corners, she could be 100% the dark horse of this race. And also, with Jo maybe looking at Bex Durrell, maybe there's a chance for Gabby to do something.
I think the best case scenario here for them is that Gabby gets up the road and then Bex tries to win the group, the 2-up sprint for third place. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. There's still 35 minutes plus 5 laps to go.
I'm just getting excited.
Oh, and we have a nice little question down here. Who are the guys thinking are the favourites for Sunday? Oh, good question. For the ladies' race, by the way, I'm telling you, from what I'm seeing right now, Bex Durrell,
I mean, I'm going to say Jo Tindley. I mean, I've known Jo a long time, former teammate. She has always wanted to win the National Circuit Series, and it's something she's always excelled at.
Yeah.
But equally, Bex Durrell, super strong at any road race, circuit race, she throws her hand at, and she's super, super strong. So
she's obviously got the current national champion Anna Henderson in her team as well, so they've got strength, in numbers there.
I forgot about Anna.
Yeah.
There's almost too many options that it could be.
They've got a very strong team.
Here we
Brother
go.
UK it looks like Joe's decided to
put the pressure
give
on.
it a nudge and see just what can happen here. Interesting tactics there by Jo. Maybe she just wants to get ahead of these lapped riders and be the first person through the chicane. So,
or she sensed a
little bit of a lull potentially.
Lull, yes.
And this is always a little bit messy sometimes in these circuit races where you have got these riders who are getting lapped. The right thing to do, and ladies did it right there, is just get off that racing line and allow the race to come through.
Yeah, it's what's happened
here at the bunch.
Who's this?
Problem there for Tacey here. She's having a real issue getting that wheel in, and this is exactly the issues we're talking. Nice to see a bit of a hand there from the DS from Velo Performance getting in there to help out, but never a good situation in a circuit race to have anything technically happen to your bike, is it?
No, definitely not. I mean, I wonder what will happen when everyone goes to discs and every team's got different spare wheels, but a lot of them are still on the rim brakes here.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's another layer to the onion of bikes, isn't it? That we currently are in that situation where the sport's evolving, technology's evolving, and unfortunately not everyone's up to speed with the same technology.
No, and there's a lot of advancement in terms of aerodynamics and all that sort of thing coming in, and sometimes the pro riders, they're sometimes the last people to get it.
Yeah, the consumers get it straight away, don't they, or the press. But yeah, we can see these three are still, I mean, after a little bit of a surge, as we look now back at the chasing group, they have now
Jaden have realised that they have
they're on
to
the
chase.
front, quickly followed there by Jen Pell from the Anti-Dama.
Langford.
Yep, Langford's conspicuous by her absence there, and I wonder if she's had an issue as well, because tonight has been a night of drama already. We've had our current series leader, Lizzie Bennett, have almost a massive crash coming out one of the corners.
She did well,
ended up on her top
it.
tube and managed to keep it upright, which has now made this group of three establish itself. So we've now got 30 minutes, just coming up to 30 minutes of racing left before we hit that 5 laps to go board, and it's basically turned on its head tonight, ultimately, and we always know it's a possibility with this course, but more importantly with this weather as well, Kira.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the weather, whenever it starts raining, there's a few people who really want to take it on, and if you're just not feeling quite right, that's when you end up behind an incident, you end up on the back foot, and at a circuit that's as technical as this, you're going to need to be in the front anyway. So, yeah.
And this is when it starts to get a little bit missing. This is actually plays into the advantage of the chasing group, because the front group now, they have to obviously manoeuvre the way past these lap riders, and it just breaks the rhythm of that front group, doesn't it?
Definitely.
But fortunately it's a small group, so they can tend to get through those gaps relatively quickly. But as we come to this real pinch part of the course where it just narrows down a little bit, we've got that left-right chicane coming up.
And there's just bodies everywhere.
Yep.
Everyone's really feeling it tonight.
That's a great camera angle as well, because it gives you a real good rider's perspective of what they've actually got to deal with. As you can see, as it drops down that quick left, quick right, and of course Gabby Shaw is just putting 2 or 3 bike lanes into the 2 riders she's with every single time she takes those corners. Very impressed with Gabby tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she's out to impress in front of a home crowd, and I'm just interested to see when the team dynamics will start playing out. When will these girls stop riding together? Because obviously the second group on the road is not that far behind, and Jen Powell just so strong driving this group. But from the rest of this group, whose job is it?
I don't think it's
to drive it.
Well, Jaden's not going to chase because
Sophie's behind.
So it really is just down to Jen Pill, and that can be a very, very lonely position to be in, can't it?
I mean, I'm very surprised that Sophie Langford isn't there, because she's normally a rider who is more than capable.
We've seen it time and time in the prime examples with the first round when she won in Bristol. It was the exact same like this. So there are your individual standings there.
Potentially a surprise winner on that day as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
She shocked a lot of
She
people.
was in a situation very similar to what Jo Tindley's in just now. She was with she was being teamed up on basically by the Vale Performance girls, and she's still managed to take out the win. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think as a threesome, they have to ultimately ride together till 5 laps to go and then duke it out.
Yeah, definitely. But I think the pressure is really on the Brother Tifosi girls, because, you know, I would not want to be in that team managers meeting if they come second and third.
That's it. And I suppose in a way we have been a little bit critical sometimes of the Vale Performance ladies' tactics. Sometimes we do tend to see them sometimes on the front of the bunch chasing each other, but this is all just part and parcel of racing. Some of these ladies are full-time, some of them have got full-time jobs, so you know sometimes your motivations are slightly different within teams. But I tell you what, these three have to work as a team tonight just to keep this gap, keep establishing it, as Bex Durrell there just takes it through that really tight and quick chicane.
I mean, it seems that the Brother Tifosi girls are the most comfortable through that chicane section. So I just wonder, is Jo second guessing? Is it the Nationals putting her off?
It's got to be in the back of her head, absolutely, Kira, because it's, as I said, it's only a day or so away, and you know she's wanted to win that championship jersey so much and for so long. She's been so close as well, so many times, and you know she's been in the position. A little bit of chatting. There's Bex is kind of saying, right, Gabs, it's time to start hitting her. Going to be interesting to see what happens now.
Though?
I think Gabby's going to have to go first, because Bex can just sit on the back here, because they know now that I don't think this group's going to come back to them. And I think honestly a rider in the way which Gabby's riding tonight, if she got a bit of daylight between herself and Jo,
because
Bex can play the
Jo's
team.
not going to want to tow Bex across either.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So it's
a tough
it's
one.
going to get a little bit more tactical, I think, in the next few laps. Let's just say that. So be interesting to see who forces their hand first and how far out they're willing to do it. But you can already see the communication starting between the two riders at the back there from Brother UK.
But it definitely gets really stressful at this point. You know, they're starting to pick up big groups now, and Gabby just puts the pressure on. She does not want to be stuck behind any of these lapped riders.
Yep, she knows she needs some clear tarmac between her and the next corner, that's for sure. And that just shows the level of experience that you've got in this front group. You know, they've got three of the best female riders in the UK there, and you know, years and years of experience between them. So it's great to see also that the riders are showing that gamesmanship and understanding that, you know, the real race is coming through just now. Let them get back on with it, and then we can have our own little race just between ourselves.
And there is a lot of respect. You know, you saw the Army girl just pull to the left and, like you say, get off the racing line, because, you know, these girls, they're telling them, you know, that they're coming up, they'll hear the motorbike. And I think as British riders, you do so many crits that you know the drill. Yeah,
you get used to it very, very quickly, because as you say, in the UK, this is the bread and butter of our domestic scene, isn't it? And
exactly,
we've got some of the best criterium riders in the world who have came from the UK and still do come from the UK. It's always amazing when you have other events in the UK, when you know the Europeans come across and they compete even from America as well, and they find it really tough, because the nature of the courses and the nature of the racing is very, very different to what they're used to.
Well, it's the nature of the courses, and it's the fact that, you know, they're racing Tour Series twice a week, they're doing this circuit series, plus plenty of local circuit series and so on. So, you know, as an English rider, you are almost thoroughbred as a crit rider first before you do anything else.
Yeah, or a British rider.
Yes. What did I say?
English.
Sorry.
Only pulling your leg. Sorry, it's your first night, we'll let you away with it. But no, it's always great to have you here, Kira, because obviously, I mean, you grew up through the British side and Cycling Academy and all that sort of stuff, and you rode as a pro in the UK, and this was, you know, like Olympic, part of the bread and butter of your series, your season,
especially for a British team, because a lot of the sponsors are British, and the races are televised. We're commentating on one now. You know, it's just part of the way that these teams run, and you know, without the crits, there would be a lot less kind of partners sponsorship involved with the sport. So it's very important.
And it's great to have city centre racing, because we spoke about it.
It's great to watch.
It's been such a part of the British culture of racing that, you know, it's great that we can take our sport to the public and show them exactly what it's all about. But what it is all about right now is that we've got three of the best riders in the UK basically showing everyone how it's done ultimately. As we see at the front here, we've now got 24, well, just under 25 minutes of racing until we get to that 5 lap board, We've got 3 riders in the front, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Gabby Shaw from Brother UK Tifosi, powered by On Form, along with her teammate Bex Darrell. Shaw is the rider at the back, number 9. And in that sandwich, we have got Velo Performance rider from Campinese, Jo Tindley, who is all over this tonight. She has the chance to take this National Series overall and defend it from her current, well, who is currently leading it is obviously her teammate, but she's had a bit of an issue so far, hasn't she?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just interested in the dynamic that's happening right behind this group, because at the minute, this group, they're working nicely together, and until they get closer to the end, it's kind of a question mark on the tactics. But the group behind, who's riding, what's happening with the team dynamic, because the positions 3rd, 4th, 5th in the series are completely open, completely up for grabs. So it's going to be really interesting to not only see how this front 3 do, but how that front group in general
the thing is, we've got to remember, although we're seeing these pictures from the front, we've also got Lizzie Bennett at the back. She's fighting for her life to retain this National Series, so she's got to keep the pressure on. We've seen her, she's back on her bike, she's still in the race, so it's really now a matter of what she can salvage.
Do we know where she is? Has she made it to that?
I think she's in the 3rd group, just trying to come across, to be honest with you, but we're probably talking the best part of 40 seconds she's down.
Wow.
So she just needs to get, because we don't forget, the points don't just stop at the first 3, there's points still to be accumulated, so this could end up being quite a arithmetical nightmare when it comes to the overall standings. But until we get there,
it's only 10 points between Bennett and Jo Tindley. So if Bennett's currently 52 seconds down, so if she can make up a few places here and there, she might be able to hold on to it. But it's completely up in the air at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we said so often tonight, that there's opportunities to leapfrog. We've currently got in this front break Bex Darrell there, who's currently at the front, number 8, just looking on her shoulder there with the pink shoulders and the white helmet. She's got a massive chance here now to move right up this leaderboard and potentially get herself on the podium, because the rider who is currently sharing that really tight margin, Sophie Langford,
is nowhere to be seen.
We can't see her at all. The only rider who's now close to being anywhere near that podium is going to be Jen Powell from Bianchi Dama, who's in the group just chasing this. And that beautiful Celeste green of Bianchi as well.
Yeah.
I love that colour.
I wonder if anything's happened to Sophie, because it's not normal. I mean, in all the other races, she's been on point, she's been at the front, and today, where is she? Has she had a problem?
I think in this race, there's a high potential for having problems, because we can just see how complicated it gets when you start getting, catching these groups. And we've got these 3 riders who've got a decent margin now to the next group, but it only takes one little mistake from anyone on the front or halfway in, just to almost like clip a barrier.
Mist descending
yep.
towards the end.
Absolutely. And then suddenly, as we can see, Bex Darrell here still keeping the pressure on. So for my money, the girls from Brother UK Tifosi, they're looking the most comfortable around this circuit tonight, and for some reason Jo's not looking her usual smooth and slick self.
Yeah, it really surprises me that Jo is not leading through these corners and putting time into the other riders, because normally that is completely her place, she's usually the first through every single corner.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's interesting, and I think a part of me thinks it must be that lifelong dream of hers to be the national circuit race champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we've got 20 minutes of racing here still to go, and we have actually had an interview with Bex Darrell at the top of the show, so it'll be interesting to see what Bex's take on that was. We'll move to that as soon as we can, but we can see here now still a little bit of argy-bargy at the front. We know that the girls
it looks
from
like
Tifosi
Gabby was about to attack there, I have to say, so I would say keep your eyes peeled now for
Jo's going to
Gabby
have eyes on the back of her head now, because they've basically set out their stall now. Jo now knows that she now has to ride incredibly defensive, but it's just as and when she has to really now think about.
But Jo is very experienced. You can see her just checking over her shoulder.
She's not silly, is she? She knows exactly what she needs to do. She needs to stay in the middle of that group and just make sure she doesn't get split off. We're going to go across now to that interview we took earlier on with Bex Darrell, so over to that interview now.
How well does the circuit here suit you tonight? Yeah, it's a good little circuit. It's quite technical. It's got a bit of a interesting section where a bit of it kind of chicane on pavé, manhole covers everywhere. So with the weather tonight, it's going to be a bit of a tricky one. But it'll make the race exciting, for sure. Yeah. And it's at that annoying point, isn't it, the weather at the moment, pre-race, because it's sort of drying out a little bit, and then I guess you've got to look at things like tyre pressure.
Yeah, definitely. Tyre pressure is really important tonight. Obviously, it's going to be quite slippy out there. So it's definitely something we need to take into consideration, and also the tactics of the race. You tend to want to ride it from the front. It's the safest place to be, avoid crashes. So yeah, the weather's going to have a massive impact tonight on the race.
And you're in such a heavy block of racing and training and everything in between at the moment. How are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling good, thanks. Kind of on the wind up now for the National Circuit Championships this weekend. So using this as a bit of a race just to kind of sharpen up the legs a bit. But we'll try and get a result on the night too.
Good luck, Bex. Thank you.
Interesting comments there from Bex Dorrell, obviously having won here previously. She's looking at using this as a bit of a tune-up, obviously, for nationals, which for everyone who does these races, we see a 28-second gap now for these three to that chasing group.
So it's actually coming down, is it?
I think it's coming down a little bit. Only a few seconds in it, to be honest with you, because it was 52 seconds to Lizzie Bennett last time we checked. So this group is in between them and Lizzie Bennett. But you just heard there, they've got a few questions also in the live stream about tyre choices and what the difference is. They wouldn't usually change the tyre or the compound, but it would more be about the pressure.
Yeah, definitely. Pressure makes such a big difference, because obviously if your tyres are really, really hard, then you're going to be more prone to slipping off. But obviously tyre pressure depends on the weight of the rider, depends on the type of tyre. And now we see Bex Dorrell.
Good move by Bex Dorrell.
Straight into that technical
corner. But Jo
corner.
Tindley, straight away, Jo knew what she was trying to do. She tried to slide in front of her teammate there, Gabby Shaw, who's now on the back foot. Jo Tindley is all over this night. She's not going to let this go without a fight, is she?
No, and I think Bex Dorrell didn't get quite enough distance into that corner, and Jo just took the inside line and managed to make a lot of that distance up. So now I wonder whether...
Is that going to set the precedence for what's going to happen in the next 17 minutes before we hit that 5 lap to go board? This could be now a matter of the two ladies from Brother Tifosi just start hitting out left, right and centre as we see
and
this.
Let's watch that again.
She's just seen that little gap. She thought, I'll try and go up the right hand side, but straight away Jo Tindley was having none of it. Up the inside of Gabby Shaw, because Shaw was thinking about closing the door there in Jo, but a nice little dive bomb up the inside by Jo there. Just protect herself and put herself back in the front foot.
I mean, I almost think, going into that corner, you really, I would have thought you'd have wanted to be on the left so you can take all of your speed. She almost had to back off too much before she went into the corner. And then obviously Jo was able to speed up.
They've got to be careful with that, because they can only do that a few times before Tindley will end up losing the rag with them and say, listen, I'm not riding anymore.
Oh yeah.
If you guys want to do that, go for it. I'll just follow you.
And I think Gabby must know that, so she will be really picking her moment here. Maybe she'll wait until Jo's done a turn on the front. But it's really interesting that Bex is really taking it to this front breakaway at the moment. I mean, she said in her interview she wants to be racing this from the front.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation right now.
So we've just heard that we might be getting an interview with Liz Bennett.
It'd be great to find some information, to give us an idea for everyone here watching the live stream on the British Cycling YouTube channel, just to get an idea of what's actually happening, because we've been mainly focusing on this front group. We've managed to get a bit of smattering about what's happening behind, because this is really where the race is at, and right now all the tactics are playing out, not only for tonight but also for the overall standings, Kira.
Definitely, there's a lot at stake, and Lizzie Bennett, I imagine, will be quite disgruntled and riding with a lot of passion to get back to this group.
It'll be really interesting when we get a chance to throw across to that interview, but to see exactly what happened to Lizzie Bennett, because we've been speculating since it happened. And has it been a pedal? Has it been a chain? What actually happened? So we can now go across to that interview in the pits with current series leader Lizzie Bennett's DS.
I've nipped down into the pits once again. Can you tell us what happened? Because a lot of people at home are saying, what happened to Lizzie Bennett?
Yeah, we had Lizzie snapped a chain. So she snapped a chain. Charlotte swapped bikes with her, so got her back going straight away. She came in and then swapped onto the spare bike. Charlotte rides a lot smaller bike than her, so they've swapped bikes, and Charlotte's then swapped back onto her bike. The situation was Lizzie snapped a chain. It's not the end of the world for us. We were first and second on the overall. Jo's now leading overall instead of being second, so results pretty much the same for us, just a different rider in the overall position now.
And as you say, looking good for Jo Tindley up in the front now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, Jo's been training for crits more than road, with the nationals in mind coming up. So it's okay. It's okay. It's not great, but it's better than it was. Just got to try and make sure that she still gets second overall for Lizzie now.
Thank you. We'll let you focus.
Wow, look at that. And just as we're talking about Jo, she has absolutely put the hammer down. And Bex Durrell is the only one who can follow her. Gabby is losing the wheel.
Now that's put a massive spanner in the works of the Brother UK Tifosi team's tactics. They were the ones trying to dominate. They were the ones trying to put Jo Tindley on the back foot, but Jo's just basically had enough of this. She's realised now that she has to, the best defence for her is going to be offence, so taking the race to them. And now we can see that both of those riders are scrambling to get up to Jo, as now she gets the possible advantage of getting to lap these riders just ahead of Bex Durrell. But it's all about getting around this little group ahead of her, or she'll lose any of the advantage she's got. She's been really careful here as she slides through the gaps left, right and centre. Great moves there by the ladies who are not at the front end of the race, just to get out of the way.
Because of those lap riders, Bex Durrell has been able to get back to Jo Tindley. So now it is just Brother Tifosi versus Velo Performance.
But I tell you what though, that was an awesome attack. It showed that it was a really long and strong attack, so it shows that Jo's got really good legs tonight. And now it's down to two riders at the front, but Will, here we go, get a chance to look at it again. Great timing as well.
At the power.
Bex Durrell's a bit nonchalant there. She really knew it was coming. Gabby, she could see it, but she couldn't really do much about it. And look at that, straight up the right-hand gutter. Little look over the shoulder there from Jo Tindley from Velo Performance, just checking to see what the gap's like. And I tell you what, that is a massive attack, as we can just see the encouragement coming from the pit area.
Definitely
from the
giving the
DSs.
photographer something to photograph there on the right-hand side. So will Gabby be able to make it back? She looks like she's making distance back on them. Really strong ride from Gabby as well. She's been riding the front all night, so she maybe has lost a little bit of the zip in the legs, but clearly feeling really strong because she's slowly pegging these two back.
Yeah, you can just see it on Gabby's face that she's
a
little bit rosy
Durrell
cheeks
isn't
right
riding.
now. Nope, it makes sense though. But the thing is, they've got to remember is that they're the ones that started this. If they hadn't started attacking Jo from like 5 minutes ago, they could still be riding quite nicely in a very cooperative threesome round this group. So it's going to be interesting to see. But as we just moments ago, we just heard from the DS of Velo Performance what actually happened to the series leader. So she broke a chain. Our teammate Charlotte Berry managed to jump off, give her bike. She then rode that to the pits.
Completely.
Rode that to the pits to then get on her spare bike. So she's had 3 bikes in the space of half of a lap, which obviously, once that happens, you obviously have that pain and that you know the adrenaline kicks in, and that you're obviously your hope is in your stomach because you think this is my chance is gone. But she's fighting back.
But it was great that Velo Performance team had the option to have someone in that front group and to be able to aid the team series.
But that's the thing though,
leader.
And this is something you have to remember, that this is a team sport. And if you have got teammates around about, it's about thinking quickly on your feet. But now it's a bit of a standoff.
The dynamic. These girls know that they only have about 30 seconds. So Brother Tifosi at some point, they're going to have to ride.
Yep, they have to now put the differences between themselves, and they have to keep on riding, even if it's just for this next 10 plus minutes till we see the 5 laps to go board, because right now potentially going to throw us down the drain.
She's just going to sit on the tops. She's not going to waste too much energy because she knows at any moment one of these riders could be launching another attack.
41 seconds up there, the gap to the second. But Jo Tindley's going once again. She knows that she's potentially the strongest in this group, and she wants to take this national series and the win tonight. But we see again, exact same place, exact same attack. Gabby Shaw's on the back foot once again. This is brilliant racing, Kira, isn't it? Just seeing the power there of Jo Tindley, willing to take this on from such a distance out. She's got this, she's really keen for this. As now we see it's 5 laps to go, so there you go.
Goodness
This is us. We're going to be seeing this. The race is on now. It's all going to be about who's going to be the person who takes the risk and who times their attack best, because I can't see us coming down to a group sprint.
No, definitely not. And to be honest, I don't know what Bex is going to do. Is she going to wait for her teammate? I mean, if I was Gabby, I would just be trying to ride at a good effort and then maybe go over the top if she can once she catches them, because she does look like she's coming back to them now.
Yeah, absolutely. She's using that bike, and look how much time she makes up and
so
how much the
quick
gap
through
she
there.
closes on those corners. Very, very impressed by Gabby Shaw tonight. a massive mammoth effort on the front to help this group stay away and establish the gap in the first place, but also her bike handling skills have been second to none tonight.
It's pretty incredible, the skills that we've seen on show here tonight. I mean, these girls, it doesn't matter if it's wet, doesn't matter if it's dry, lightning, rain, whatever, they are all good. They are just taking
you might have
these
missed out
corners.
hailstones and
I
snow
missed
there,
hail.
Kira.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter what it is. They're just here to race, and the competition is on now.
Yep, the thing is, they have not gave Jo Tindley a single tap in the last 2 laps, so
It's stalemate now.
yep, absolutely.
And is that Jen Powell?
No, it's not. No, it's
No.
one of our teammates who they really should just be sitting back and letting the race take place. As Bex Darrell there thought about taking a little attack, but I see where you're coming from. They're very similar riding style
I
to
just saw that
Jen Powell.
Celeste colour, and I was like, oh, she's come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's crossed 50 seconds.
That would be impressive tonight, I tell you that. That would be super impressive and definitely the ride of the night.
So it must be 4 to go.
Yep,
Yeah.
4 laps to go now, ladies and gentlemen, here at
I'm
the...
biting my nails. I'm
Yep,
nervous.
this is the final round of this ladies series as well, and as we know right now, Lizzie Bennett has had quite a few issues at the start of the show. She broke her chain on her bike, the current series leader. Now the rider in second place here, her teammate Jo Tindley, is the one who could potentially take this overall, but first of all and foremost in front of her mind tonight is about taking this win against 2 very, very strong riders from the same team and brother UK Tifosi.
I mean, it's interesting that Bex is now riding. I wonder if she would attempt to talk to Gabby and work out some sort of plan for this, because by the looks of things, Bex is the stronger brother Tifosi rider. So why is she riding right now?
Yep, I think we have to be looking at Gabby Shaw having an attack next time through here, because we've seen so far that brother Tifosi have to use their numbers now. They have to give Bex Darrell as clean and as easy a ride to that last lap for that sprint, because we've already seen when Jo Tindley puts the hammer down, Gabby's just getting gapped that little bit. I think it's also indicative of the kind of rider that Gabby is. She's a very, very strong, powerful, long, drawn-out, slow bleeder kind of an effort.
Yes.
Whereas Jo and Bex got that real punch.
I mean, if it was, say, a flat-out sprint between Jo and Bex, who would your money be on? It's a real tough one.
It is a tough one. They're so evenly matched, to be honest with you.
After seeing that attack, honestly, I think Jo looks incredibly strong, because that first attack, Bex couldn't hold
You've
her
also
wheel.
got to remember she's been so close in each of the rounds to winning
Yes.
that she does not want to leave this national series without getting those hands up and being at the top of that podium. How would you be in that situation though, Kira? What would you be thinking right now?
Oh, I mean, the pressure's on. I don't know what I would be doing. I've not been in the last 3 in a circuit race for a very long time, but I think Jo, she's got to play it careful here, because she doesn't want to give too much, of a toe to these 2 girls. She doesn't want to attack and not get a big gap. So I would be either, I feel like in the next lap, you maybe have room to do an attack and still have something left.
Absolutely. It's interesting to see that Gabby Shaw's just slid into second place there. That's a perfect position to be in, to take a run at Jo Tindley, try and get a little bit of gap on her, but it gives Bex Darrell a chance to slide
If
on
I
the back.
was Jo and I saw Gabby behind me, I'd be thinking maybe I attack into the next corner. Gabby's not been able to follow me these previous few laps.
It's a game of poker on wheels, as they say, an absolute game of poker. But you see Bex Darrell there, little pro move, checking over her shoulder just to see if the gap's still good. These guys are perfectly safe now over this next 3 laps. They've got 40 to 45 seconds gap on the chasing group, but one of the biggest influences is going to be over this next 2.5 laps now, because we're going to come into 2 laps to go next time, is going to be the traffic that's left on the course.
Yeah, definitely. And I wonder whether some of these lapped riders will be pulled out, but still, it's an interesting dynamic to add into the madness of the final few laps anyway.
Absolutely, and we all know it's always madness in these circuit races when it comes to this. But now it's not only getting tactical from the point of view of the series, but it's also getting tactical in part of the race.
Conversation going on now.
It's very, very obvious that bit of talking here.
I almost think that if those 2 get on the front, someone might just leave a gap.
Yep,
Who
the old
knows?
reverse lead out situation.
But Jo knows she's staying to the left-hand side, and she's just keeping a quick look to the right, because she knows she just wants to minimise the amount she's going to have to look over her shoulder. She doesn't want to mark left and right sides. So she's using her experience here to try and play the poker game a little bit better than the Brother Tifosi girls.
Looks like Gabby's looking to slowly wind this up now. They need to be hitting Jo Tindley though. They can't drag her to the finish because we know that she's super punchy tonight
And
after those two attacks.
I have to say, in a sprint, up that climb, I don't know.
It's going to be all in the timing, Kira. It's going to be the person who times it right and basically backs themselves and knows that they've got they've got that golden bullet left for that amount of distance.
You'd have to say the favourite is Bex Durrell. She's won here before. She's won numerous races where it's, a little kicker up to the finish, and she is super strong. But I have to say that, to me, Jo has that bit more zip, that bit more sprint power. But it's not a flat sprint. It's not, it's who gets into that Ferner course, who commits to it and backs themselves.
Absolutely. And don't forget, folks, straight after this we will have the live stream of the men's race as well coming from you here in Barnsley. Do stay tuned. We will go off here for a moment or two, but now, most importantly, we need to get back to the women's race because we're just coming up now. Next time we come round that home straight, we're going to be hearing the bell and 1 lap to go.
I have literally got goosebumps. Honestly, it's almost too close to call. I think it's definitely between Bex Durrell and Jo Tindley. Jo Tindley from Velo Performance and Bex Durrell in the pink there from Brother Tifosi. But Gabby is doing a stellar ride. She knows she's just got to keep the power down. She knows she's not the strongest out of this front group.
And she's also guaranteed a podium, which is always great for Gabby when she's been putting that graft in. You're nothing worse than being in this position than potentially getting caught and ended up in a group sprint and getting nothing from it. So she's also keen to get herself some points on the table as well as getting a result for herself.
Yeah, but I think it's so interesting how Jo is actually sitting second here.
And now here's what we were speaking about just a moment ago. 1 lap to go, and there's still a heck of a lot of traffic on this circuit. I just hope that the riders get out of the racing lines and let the actual race just be down to the 3 riders who have been pretty much dominant all night tonight. As we see a rider there just standing in the road who's obviously had a technical issue. And there goes Jo Tindley over the top. Gabby Shaw knows that's it. Bex Durrell takes up first place here, and that could be potentially the nail in the coffin for Brother Tifosi, because you don't want to have Jo Tindley all over the back of you right here.
This is playing into Jo's hands. This is definitely playing into Jo's hands. Bex does not want to be doing an effort this close to the finish, and it's stalemate. He rides.
Yeah, absolutely. There you can see her DS just he's run through the shops and the houses just to get her in the back straight to give her another G up. So this is where we have to be really careful, and Jo has to be very, very keep on thinking about the group just in front of her.
Yeah,
you want to just catch them on this straight. You don't want to be catching them before that chicane, or that will make a real mess of this finish. And it's a bit of a shame that those riders have not been pulled out of this gap.
And I have to say, Jo is riding the smartest race. Currently, she's taking it to those lap riders. She wants to make sure she gets in front of this group before the finish. Otherwise, it's going to get real messy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're probably about 500 metres or so to go, as we can now see we've got 2 corners left here. Right hand up the inside. Up the inside, Bex Durrell has committed early, but it's getting very messy back here as these lap riders are unfortunately getting in the way, and this could be the nail in the coffin for Jo Tindley. Bex Durrell over the top.
I think it's too early.
Bex Durrell looks like she's going to get this, as that's unfortunately got in the way of the race. It looks like Bex Durrell is going to take this for the second time here in Barnsley, being chased all the way there by Jo Tindley. Tindley's not going to let this go without a fight, but Bex Durrell takes it for Brother UK Tifosi, powered by On Form.
And Jo must be really disappointed there.
Absolutely, and it's a real shame that things like that have such a bearing on the finisher races, because those riders should really have been pulled out with at least 3 laps to go. But again, I think we also seen that she was just actually taking the lap on the current series leader, our teammate Lizzie Bennett. But there we go, Bex Durrell.
I think that's why that group wasn't pulled out, because that was in fact the group with the current series leader in, and you can see these riders, they're talking about it.
They're basically talking about it, and the thing is as well, they knew, I mean, these 2 ladies are experienced enough to know what to do in that situation. I think they both had the same idea, but Bex Durrell was just a little bit quicker into that corner with two corners to go ultimately, and she got a bit of clean air to get into that final chicane. But
definitely, and it really was a show of incredible strength up that final climb. She really went for it.
So close for Jo Tindley once again on the podium, but you know what? She may have wrapped this up in the overall as well, but she's definitely solidified her place in second place. Even if Lizzie Bennett hasn't managed to maintain her overall lead, but also that shows that Velo Performance have actually taken the overall series lead as well, and they've got that in the bag. So that's going to be a massive boost for them, especially moving into the national series. Sorry, this is national series, but the national championships in just 2 days' time.
I know, not long now. And I think these two, they know they're chatting friendly now, but they know that in a couple of days they'll be back at it.
Yep.
And competitors.
And again, it's a national championship, so the dynamic changes once again, where technically it's rider against rider. Well, it's your teammate or not your teammate. Everyone wants that striped jumper, don't they?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because it's the pride, you get to wear it for all the circuit races you do, and there's a lot on the calendar, so it is a very sought after race to win.
But you can see between the girls, no love lost there. The race with each other week in, week out. They know what bike racing's like, and unfortunately that was just a racing instant. But it's great to see, the camaraderie between them, because Bex, I don't think she can believe that she's won this twice in a row, but that's going to be a massive confidence boost for her ahead of Sunday. Definitely.
I mean, she has got to be one of the favourites alongside her teammate Anna Henderson, and there's so many favourites.
Yeah, and Gabby Shaw's obviously reared her head as well now, and on a circuit like Rochester, it's a chance for them potentially to have any number of riders up there towards the podium at the point end of the race. That's for sure.
Definitely, but I think Jo did well not to lose her head with those two Brother Tifosi riders there, putting the pressure on. So, exciting race. I'd be interested to hear from Lizzie Bennett if we can talk to her about her feelings about after snapping
it'd
her
be interesting
chain.
to see. We might not have a chance to actually catch up with Lizzie Bennett here, but I'm pretty sure we'll be able to grab our race winner Bex Darrell when she finally comes back up towards the pits. But it's good to see the girls still chatting away, giving away their anecdotes and their thoughts on the race, which is obviously, that was basically, for me, this has been a fantastic race first and foremost. It just really sets us up nicely for the men's race, which is going to be joining us in the next 5 minutes or so.
They really took it on from the gun, and I'd love to see the same thing happen in the men's race.
The thing is with the men's race as well, that's pretty much sewn up by Matt Bostock. He's got no chance of being caught now in the overall. He doesn't even have to ride the next 2 rounds, and he's got that in the bag pretty much. So will he ride as well? That's another question we have to think about. But more importantly, let's keep focusing on these ladies, which have shown a fantastic race tonight. One of the more exciting circuit races I've seen around here, that's for sure, and it's great to see the level of the racing in the UK really coming on, especially in the women's side of racing.
And it's just so nice to see these riders, that there's a lot of respect between
Brilliant.
and
we're going to hand across to Bex.
Congratulations! What does it mean to take this, especially ahead of the champs on Sunday?
Yeah, it's a bit of a confidence boost. So yeah, it was a great race. Jo had a great ride there as well, so it was really fun. We all got round it unscathed, so jobs are good.
Just very quickly, how was that corner? Because you had to really back off there in the wet.
Yeah, it was pretty dicey, and as well on that last lap there's kind of a few riders there as well that we had to dodge between, but it's all part of racing.
Congratulations, thank you. We'll let you go and celebrate. That's all we've got time for here at the women's race, but do not go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few moments with all the action from the men. We'll see you then.